Hi there, thank you very much for joining Bruce Millington and Steve Palmer on The Sweet Spot. It's the Racing Post's weekly golf show. We'll be looking back on last week's 3 events and looking ahead to the 2 tournaments that take place this week, one of which is absolutely star-studded. First of all, Steve, welcome back. Did you have a nice time in Ibiza?
I did, mate. Yeah. I've been giving it large. And back from Ibiza, not in great condition, but good memories.
Oh, good. What in what sense you're not in great condition?
I've actually got tonsillitis. I was obviously putting on the geezer chat there because you get lots of geezers go to Ibiza, don't you? But no, I've got tonsillitis, but nothing to worry about. I'll battle through it. The wedding was good. The wedding was good. Highlights and lowlights.
Good. Okay.
So, yeah.
You studied hard. Are you confident for the week, ahoy?
Yeah, I'm always confident. Yeah. We got back at 4 a.m. on Saturday. I got back in the swing of things on Sunday, and then I feel like I've got a good handle on things. I actually got an interesting story about similar to what Richard Boxall's always going on about. You know, on Sky they're always going on about Richard Boxall muddling up the Hogarth brothers.
I don't actually.
It's normally the daytime European Tour stuff that he's on there, and there was a time when he went up to Nikolai Hogarth and started congratulating him on his win, and it was actually Rasmus Hogan. And they never stopped talking about it. But I sympathise with Boxall a little bit now because the groom at this wedding I went to in Ibiza and the best man were brothers, and they looked so alike. And late on at the wedding, I went up to the groom, who I thought was the best man, started going on about what a great speech it was and all the fantastic jokes at the groom's expense. And this was a cracker, that was a cracker. And then the groom, after about 5 minutes of me waxing lyrical about the best man speech, revealed I'm actually the groom. Yeah, that was a humiliating moment for me. Can you imagine how?
Oh, I can imagine that. Let's hope the bride didn't get the groom and the best man mixed up. That would have been awful, wouldn't it? Blimey.
Yeah, I expect entirely feasible. Yeah, they're not twins, but they just got the same beard and they look just like it. So yeah, ups and downs. But I recruited a new reader, Bruce. I recruited a new reader who looked like Soren Kjelsen. Went up to another fella because I didn't know anyone. I was just a +1, I didn't know anyone. Just making friends. And I went up to one bloke and said, "You look like Soren Kjelsen." And that sparked a lovely conversation. He asked me what I did, and then
he didn't know Soren Kjelsen.
He didn't know Soren Kjelsen. I got him up on my phone.
And
he was Danish, this fella.
Was he flattered?
He was. Well, I don't know. He's a bit better looking than Soren Kjelsen, but he asked me. He asked me what I did, and then the conversation continued. And I said, "We've had 21 winning years out of 23, and he's hooked now. He got the website up. Brilliant. He signed up, and so I recruited a new.
What's his name?
I don't know. I was calling him Soren.
Fair enough. Okay.
Soren. So yeah, successful wedding.
I'm sure you had a fair bit to toast the bride and groom, but we also need to toast Ian Wilkerson, the super sub who stood in for the Racing Post last week and banged in 2 fantastic winners. Keegan Bradley at 30-1 and Adrian Otegay at 50-1. So what a fantastic feat by Wilco, who I must say, when you do have a holiday, he seems to pop up with the goods week after week, doesn't he? So fair play. It's good to know that you can leave the fort and it's not going to go to pot without you, isn't it?
It's another reason why Soren Kjelsen should be signing up, isn't it? Because the cover's so good. I mean, what you must say about Wilco is he didn't have many tips last week. He had 3 in each tournament and got the winner of both. It's fantastic. My cap's been doffed. And
he wasn't far short of getting the treble either, because he had Sergio in the LIV, so he almost had a dream treble. But well done, Wilco, fantastic. And it was nice to see on the comments under last week's video that Andy Turner and someone called Stay Gold Pony Boy both had the double, so that was fantastic. Stay Gold Pony Boy said it was his first ever transatlantic double, which is fantastic. Although it wasn't strictly speaking a transatlantic double, was it? Because one of the tournaments was in Japan and the other one was in Spain. So it was more kind of trans-Indian Ocean double. But anyway, it still gets paid out. So that was good. Let's drill a little deeper into those tournaments. Which one do you want to start with, Steve? Should we start with Andalusia Masters? Adrian Otegay, who absolutely turned it into a procession. I mean, that Valderrama is meant to be really difficult. And to win with like 19, 20 under or whatever, some performance, wasn't it?
Well, accurate drivers thrive at Valderrama. The Otter has always been one of the most accurate drivers on the DP World Tour. He's 6th in the driving accuracy stats this season. And the Otter, was like he's playing a different golf course to the rest. I mean, it did play difficult for the majority of the field. Single figures under par got you on the first page of the leaderboard. But the Otter was just buzzing, never missing a fairway. And he's the first, of course, of the LIV Rebels to win on the DP World Tour. I mean, he was essentially banned from the DP World Tour after joining LIV. He played in the first 3 LIV events, was banned from the DP World Tour, and then the court proceedings, if you remember rightly, got him back on it. So I think there's further court proceedings in February which may get him banned again. The big, long, drawn-out ones booked in for February, he may get banned.
There was a very peculiar tweet from Lee Westwood, wasn't there? He seems to almost sort of want to goad the DP Tour these days. I mean, I must admit, I think we've all loved the work sort of Wonder down the years, and he's a great character, a brilliant performer, everyone rooting for him to win a major. But he's being a little bit silly about all this stuff. He put a tweet on saying, do they not notice Sotoga's playing this week? He was at the top of the leaderboard with a red background. I don't know what, I didn't quite understand that. Did you see that or not?
Yeah. I don't know why Westwood wants to get so involved with the goading element of it. He should just be happy with his lot now, shouldn't he? Him and Poulter, have got their big money mega bucks deal to play on the LIV Golf Circuit. Just go off and enjoy your fortune. There's no need. They don't really care about the DP World Tour anymore, do they? I don't see why they get so worked up. Adrian Otaegui needs to play on the DP World Tour and wants to, but Westwood and Poulter can wash their hands of it. My feelings on Twitter. It's just I don't. If I was Lee Westwood, I wouldn't be on Twitter. Why are you even on Twitter? It's just like graceless. I think is the way. I know, graceless. I know.
Yeah. Matt Fitzpatrick, obviously the big disappointment there. But short price favourite, missed the cut. That wasn't very good. Minwoo Lee, who was Joe Champ's tip on the show last week, it looked like he might get involved, but Otaegui just basically blasted clear from the 3rd round onwards, and that was that. So if you backed him at 50-1, well done. In the ZOZO in Japan, Keegan Bradley. Now, we played golf last Monday, didn't we? And you've got this thing where if you're off, you don't even want to know the fields, do you? Because you could get drawn in. I started talking to you about it, and you put your hands over your ears and started doing that, didn't you? But Bradley, I don't know, when you look back on the results, do you do that thing where you're almost like, oh, God, I could easily have tipped him. I would have tipped him. I know Bradley's been on your radar for a while, hasn't he, in recent weeks? So was there a speck of remorse on that one?
The last time that the ZOZO was played at that course, I tipped Bradley. And, there was a tinge of regret on that one. Yeah, I have to assume the ostrich position, like you say, because as soon as I start hearing about the field, I start forming an opinion. Therefore, I do have to have a bet. And I like to go for the full processes, or it's not worth doing. So, possibly. But I don't like to say for sure. But possibly.
Well, of course, another player who's been very much on. You've been tipping him for a revival recently. Almost pulled it off in. I was about to say Robbie Fowler, Ricky Fowler. He played well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think this could easily be the Fowler comeback year. The Fortinet Championship. Clearly no sort of flash in the pan now. Tied second last week. Bit of contention rust at the finish, I think. But I think Fowler's going to make a comeback this year. He's just outside the top 100 of the world rankings. The demise has been slightly overplayed, I think.
Okay, and finally, the LIV Jeddah, where Dustin Johnson was a hot favourite. It was the only tip for Joe on the show last week, but he got off to a very slow start. But it turned out to be it was the most thrilling of the LIV tournament so far, wasn't it? Loads of players in contention on the Sunday, and then we ended up with a playoff between Brooks Koepka and his old mucker Peter Uihlein, and Brooks Koepka is 20-1 at the outset. Won the tournament. Is there anything else to add on that, really?
Well, I find it fascinating how the elite players seem to be sort of taking turns to win now. You had Dustin Johnson and Cameron Smith won last month. Now Brooks Koepka's got off the mark. All the elite have got off the mark on the LIV circuit, and then there's one tournament to go. I thought Peter Uihlein did well, actually. I was quite impressed with Peter Uihlein. I've always been fond of him. I think he's a class act. I think he's a massive underachiever. And I thought he was swinging within himself last week. When he was swinging within himself, he's got like effortless power. I enjoyed watching Peter Uihlein last week. I tuned in from a pumpkin patch on Sunday.
Oh, you went to a pumpkin patch. They're all the rage, aren't they? Pumpkin patches.
Yeah. You've got to go early to the pumpkin patch now. They run out of pumpkins. They're so popular.
Really?
Halloween's a couple of weeks. But I was watching LIV Golf from a pumpkin patch, which was quite a weird experience.
Two sentences there that I don't think have been uttered that often before. I'm very fond of Peter Uihlein, and I was watching the LIV Golf from a pumpkin patch. The world of Steve Palmer is a very strange one, but it's lovely. Yeah. Oh, right. Did the kids enjoy the pumpkin patch?
They did. They put about 50 in the wheelbarrow before I had to sort of rein them in a bit. About £8.50. So £8.50 for the large
pumpkin.
For a big one, yeah. The size is the judgment of how much they cost, and my daughter is a very expensive taste.
And who's got the job of sort of fashioning a scary face out of it? Will you do that together?
My wife would do that. Yeah. I'm not very good at that sort of thing.
No. Okay, back to the golf then, Steve. Anything else from last week, or should we look ahead now?
I think we need to look ahead. Yeah.
Okay, right. So we've got 2 tournaments this week. We've got the Mallorca Golf Open. I'm determined to learn the sort of the auxiliary words on these charts, because I tend to just go Mallorca, but it's the Mallorca Golf Open, and it's the CJ Cup. We're going to start with the CJ Cup because this is a real banger, this one. I am going to read out the market, and then Steve's going to tell us all about the tournaments and all about the course, rather, and who he fancies. Here is some indicative betting. 7-1 Rory McIlroy, 9-1 John Rahm, 12 Scotty Scheffler, 14 Justin Thomas. Is your appetite whetted yet? 22 Matt Fitzpatrick and Sun J.M. and Victor Hovland, 25 Spieth and Burns, 28 Tom Kim, 28 Max Homer, 30 Shane Lowry and Cam Young and Colin Morikawa, and 35 Barr. I mean, isn't far short of a major quality. This is it. What a tournament.
Oh, my appetite couldn't be wetted. Moisture everywhere. But it's a cracker, isn't it? Late in October. You don't expect much out of the calendar, but we've got it here.
Yeah, we certainly have. Whereabouts in the States is it, Steve?
Well, it's funny you should ask that, because we're in South Carolina, and you want to get the name right. It's the CJ Cup at South Carolina. It started off as the CJ Cup at Nine Bridges in South Korea. Then it was the CJ Cup at Shadow Creek. Then it was the CJ Cup at Summit Club. So we've had 2 years in Las Vegas, and now we've moved to South Carolina. I don't know whether we're ever going to get back to Korea. Let's hope so. So we're at Congaree Golf Club, Ridgeland, South Carolina, 7,655 yards, par 71, 3 par 5s. We've got one piece of course form to go on. There's been one PGA Tour event here before, the Palmetto Championship. You might remember it. Last year, we were on Tyrrell Hatton, who finished second. It was won by Garrick Higo. So Congaree is a very young track. It was designed by Tom Fazio in 2017. It's got wide fairways, undulating terrain, lots of waste areas, elevated greens, runoff areas around it. So it's a really, no expense spared track. Fazio, he loves these sort of lavish designs, and you'll enjoy watching this one, I think.
Good, excellent. What is CJ?
It's a Korean company.
Oh, okay.
If you look at your Sung Jae-ins and your Tom Kims, your favourite, they've all got CJ on their caps.
Oh, lovely. Excellent. And of course, being South Carolina, I think it's only a 5-hour time difference. That's always good. I enjoy it. Yeah, a sort of more civilized finish time. Hopefully they'll be done by 11 o'clock, eh?
Yeah. You're right. That is good. I remember the Las Vegas ones were very late. I was watching Colin Morikawa last time, and I was on him, and he finished a shot shy of McIlroy, and that was an unsavoury late hour.
Right, I'm with trepidation, given your throat, I ask how many selections you've got.
2.
Oh, blimey, just a 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Right then, who's the first?
The first is John Rahm at 9-1. There's lots of players in this field who have trekked to South Carolina from Japan. I don't think the ZOZO Championship is good preparation for the CJ Cup. That was a totally different type of track on the other side of the world. So I like the players that skip the ZOZO. And my favourite of all is John Rahm, who I think is the member of the elite carrying most desire this week. This hasn't been a year that's up to Rahm's extremely high standards. He started the year as world number 1. He just won the US Open. This year, his only titles have come in 2 low-grade events. The Mexico Open in May, Spanish Open last time out. I think he's hungry to win a tournament which features most of the big guns. This is an ideal opportunity. We saw Rahm coming back to his best in the FedEx Cup playoffs. Then he finished second in the BMW PGA at Wentworth, closed with a 62, closed with another 62 in the Spanish Open, 25 under par masterclass 6-shot win. Rahm's got his A game back late in the year. His reward for that could be the CJ Cup. He took last week off, ready to go again. Congaree encourages driver off every tee. It's Rahm's favourite club. Made for big hitters, this track. And it's a track with not many flat lies. It's very, very hilly terrain. And Kapalua and Augusta are probably the 2 best comparisons you can come up with there. Rahm's got a great record at both of those venues. So, I think he's going to build on that joyous Spanish Open victory with another one.
Okay, lovely, brilliant. John Rahm, and just one side order. Who's that?
The side order, get as many places as you can, but I think it's feasible that he could win this. It's Taylor Montgomery at 55 to 1, who is one of the most informed players on the planet. He's had 11 top 10s in his last 16 tournaments. His form figures from his last 7 tournaments are
11 top 10s in his last 16 tournaments. Wow.
Yeah,
that's flown
absolutely
under my radar.
Well, a lot of them on the Corn Ferry Tour, and now he's come on to the PGA Tour. His form figures from his last 7 tournaments: 2, 3, 4, 9, 3, 9, 15. Yeah, this fella became an almost permanent fixture on Corn Ferry Tour leaderboards before gaining promotion. And he finished 3rd in the Fortinet Championship, PGA Tour curtain raiser, 9th in the Sanderson Farms, 15th in the Shriners. He's a big hitter who putts extremely well. He's one of the best putters on the circuit. I think he'll become a PGA Tour champion quite soon. And this is a good week for the rookies. You know, they're not a significant disadvantage in terms of course knowledge. We've only had one PGA Tour event here before. You know, and Montgomery should like this layout. Tom Fazio, the course designer, described Congaree as a low country version of Shadow Creek, which is another of his creations. And Shadow Creek is Montgomery's home track. Practices at Shadow Creek all the time. So maybe you'll fall in love with Congaree. Is certainly worth chancing at 55 to 1 in a 78 runner event, we must mention. 78 runners, no cut.
What's the most places you've seen so far?
Well, on the each way extra markets, you can get 8, can't you?
Yeah. Have to pay a bit of a premium on the win odds, don't you? But that's the way it is.
Only a little bit. Yeah, I think you should have an 8 place bet on Monty.
I'm finally going to get to ask you a question that I keep meaning to ask you. Is Corn Ferry a ferry, like, a P&O ferry? Is it like a boat that you can get from A to B?
I'm staggered that we've never really answered this question. I can't answer that question. You know, it shows that the sponsorship doesn't work. They'll probably take the sponsorship down after watching this podcast, because I still don't know. Things I don't need to know about, I don't try and know. But
wouldn't you like to know what the Corn Ferry is? Wouldn't it be lovely to get on the Corn Ferry? Right. Give me a long answer to your first tip in Spain. And while you are doing that, I'll research Corn Ferry. But anyway, before we wrap on this, is there anything else you want to say about any of the market principles? Did Rory come close to floating your boat, sticking with the
I massively respect his chance. He's contending every time he plays. I just slightly prefer Rahm at a slightly bigger price.
Such a good field, isn't it?
McIlroy. Is McIlroy as hungry as Rahm for winning this? I don't know.
Do you need to have hunger? I mean,
yeah.
Is there a correlation between hunger and actual success?
I think at this stage of the year, I think there is. I think a lot of them have gone into holiday mode. I saw Justin Thomas parading around the studios of some American talk show the other day. So after the President's Cup, he seemed to sort of down tools. I remember back in Xander Schauffele at a massive price for the HSBC champions once, and one of the main thrusts of that argument, he was 66 to 1. He was a headline tip at 60 to 1, and one of the main thrusts was that he was highly motivated, where the market leaders weren't, and the market leaders were disinterested in him. I think it is a factor.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, market leader. Scotty Scheffler was a flop in the President's Cup, wasn't he? Didn't win a match. He's lost his putting confidence. So yeah, I think McIlroy you have to respect. Rahm's a slightly better value at slightly bigger price.
Lovely. Let's move across to the DP World Tour event, which is the Mallorca Golf Open. And here are the latest prices. Rasmus Hogan is favourite at 12 to 1. Ryan Fox 16s. Otter Gay looking to follow up. He's 18. And then you've got Eddie Pepperell at 22, along with Richard Mansell. Yannick Paul. Don't know much about Yannick Paul. He's 25s. Zanotti 28s. Andy Sullivan 30. Richie Ramsey 33. And it's 35 bars. So not a star-studded field, but a wide open tournament. So first of all, Steve, before we get the tips, where is this taking place?
Son Montana Golf Club, Palma, Mallorca, Spain. 6,952 yards, par 71, 3 par 5s. This is DP World Tour debut. There was a Mallorca skins contest in 2009 between Jose Maria Fabro, Justin Rose, Martin Keimer and Robert Carlson. If you go on YouTube, you can get little bits and bobs of that.
I can't wait.
But it's never hosted a proper event. It's a resort course. There's lots of water hazards, but it's really easy for the pros. It's short and great weather is forecast.
So who will it suit?
birdie machines.
Birdie
Good
machines,
putters. I don't see how you can win it without being a good putter. So, yeah, you need a hot putter, and you're going to probably get to get a top 25 under par.
Blimey. How many tips have you got for this one, Steve?
5.
5. Right, then fire away with your headline selection. And while you're doing that, I'm going to see what Corn Ferry is.
Okay, mate. Number 1 selection, Tom Lewis at 70-1, who I think is ideally suited to a low-scoring resort course in this region. He's a 2-time winner of the Portugal Masters, 2011 and 2018. He was 21 under par for the first of those wins, 22 under par for the second one. His Challenge Tour win came with a 23 under par total. His Corn Ferry Tour win was also from a 23 under par effort. He loves demolishing easy courses. He's long off the tee. His iron play can be amazing. He's a birdie machine when in the groove. And there's been lots of encouragement lately for Lewis fans. He was 13th in the Czech Masters at the end of August, 12th in the Maiden Himalayan, 16th in the Italian Open. He's got 2 events left to secure his DP World Tour playing rights for next season. He'll be really fancying himself next week as he goes for the Portugal Masters hat-trick in Vilamoura. I think he can take all the pressure off that mission by winning in Palma on Sunday.
Okay. Very disappointingly, Corn Ferry is a global organizational consulting firm. We work with our clients to design optimal organization structures, roles and responsibilities, etc., etc. It's not a boat that chugs from one sort of part of America to the other.
There's so many companies like that, and you just, even when you've gone through all that, I still have no idea what it is.
No,
there's loads of companies like that.
It says, I'm Corn Ferry's virtual assistant. How can I help you today? No, you're right. Anyway, I'm sure that hopefully they do get a lot out because they put a lot into golf, don't they? They're good, lucrative sponsorship.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So fair play
to the web.com tour for me.
Oh, no, that's not fair. Right then, so Tom Lewis is the headline act. Who do you see as the main danger?
Another 70-1 chance. Sebastian Garcia Rodriguez. The last 4 DP World Tour events staged in Spain have been won by a Spaniard. Maybe that streak will be continued by Garcia Rodriguez, who, like Lewis, naturally aggressive player, sometimes goes extremely low. He's a great putter. An easy course in his homeland is the perfect assignment. He won an Alps Tour event in Spain in 2017. He beat Adrian Nus in a playoff. He's won 3 times on that circuit. He was second in a Challenge Tour event in Spain. He was second in a Challenge Tour event in Portugal. He was 6th in the 2020 Portugal Masters. He was 5th in last year's Mallorca Open. His record in events close to home is fantastic. Yeah, maybe he's ready for a DP World Tour breakthrough at the age of 33. He's made 5 cuts in a row, and he finished 14th in Valderrama on Sunday. Yeah, much less suitable course, and he finished 14th.
Excellent. Is it long shots all the way, Steve?
Yeah.
Right then, love it. Keep going. Who's third?
Hurley Long. Hurley Long
Our
at
old
66-1. I've been banging on about Hurley Long for a long time. I think he'll win on the DP World Tour. I think he's one of Germany's most promising players. He's won on the Challenge Tour. He's a great putter. All 5 of my selections have got a positive strokes gain putting ranking for this season. I think you're going to have to putt really well to win this. It looks such an easy assignment. Long is 27th in the DP World Tour putting rankings for this season. He's had 6 top 10s on the DP World Tour this season. He was runner-up in a Challenge Tour event in Spain last year. Serious runner at 66-1.
Okay, you need to wet your whistle there, don't you?
Yep.
So while you are, that's a nice mug.
Take a bit more poison off the tonsils there.
Is that just a nice cup of Rosie Lee?
That's coffee.
Coffee.
That's coffee. Yeah. You can't beat a bit of coffee, can you?
No, you certainly can't. So with 3 tips down, we've got 2 to go. Who's the next one?
We're going 3 figures now. Lucas
lovely.
Biergaard, 110-1. Lucas Biergaard, who, like Lewis, has got 2 events left to save his skin. Both Lewis and Biergaard outside the top 117 of the Race to Dubai rankings. It's the top 117 that retain their playing rights this year. And like Lewis, he knows that next week's Portugal Masters is a great chance for last gasp glory. Biergaard won the Portugal Masters in 2017. He was second there last year to save his card. Yeah, Biergaard was living dangerously last year, raised his game, rose his game at the death. I can see history repeating itself, because there have been little glimpses of the Biergaard A game lately. He was 3rd in the Kazoo Open, 20th in the French Open, 23rd in the Spanish Open. I think he's going to fall in love with Son Montana. I think he'll have a wonderful card-saving fortnight.
Okay. Will I be able to guess your last tip? Is it one of your old favourites, or is it someone who's new to the Sweet Spot portfolio?
It's a 41-year-old who I've tipped a few times. Lovely classic golf swing. but I don't think I've tipped him for a while. So no, I don't expect you will be able to get him.
No, go on, tell us who it is.
It's a 200-1 chance, and it is Mark Warren, who likes to enjoy himself off the golf course. He's a big Glasgow Rangers fan. He's a massive talent who has never been hugely fond of practice. But when he knuckles down, he's a man to be feared on the DP World Tour. He's won 4 titles. The first was in 2006, and the last was in 2020. Yes, it shows the longevity of that career, and it's based on golf swing and great putting ability. It seems like when his playing rights come under threat, he ups his focus, ups his game, and there's been a marked improvement lately. 8th place in the Spanish Open a couple of weeks ago, pretty much secured his card for next year. He was thrilled with that ball striking performance in Madrid. As I say, he's always been one of the best putters on the circuit. I think he'll go low this week. He was 3rd in the 2006 Mallorca Classic. I think he'll get in the mix on the same island 16 years later.
Wow, marvellous. What a brilliant array of tips. Lovely stuff. Should we reiterate, Steve?
Well, I must mention my respect for the favourite first, because Rasmus Hogan at 12-1, I think, is a perfectly fair price. I think Rasmus Hogan is the man to beat. His maiden DP World Tour title came in Mauritius. I can see more island success this week, but I'm playing the 5 outsiders. There are only 6 players that interested me, Rasmus and my 5 big prices.
Superb. Excellent. Right then, so CJ Cup, just the 2 tips, and they are?
Jon Rahm and Taylor Montgomery.
And in the Mallorca Golf Open?
Tom Lewis, Sebastian Garcia Rodriguez, Hurley Long, Lucas Bjergård, and Mark Warren.
Nice. Excellent. Well done, Steve. Lovely stuff. Nice portfolio there. Will you be getting involved in doubles, or will you just go singles all the way, do you think, this time?
I've had, I think a Lewis Rahm double. I always have that the headline is doubled. And then, as I say, a Rasmus Rahm double, you could play. I didn't fancy playing heavy on a favourite at 12 there. But, the Rasmus Rahm double, I wouldn't want to put people off that.
All right. Brilliant. Next week's show features the Bermuda Championship and the Portugal Masters. Between now and then, what? And
don't forget Live Golf Miami.
I can't remember something I've never
it's
knew.
the finale. It's the big finale. We're all excited.
Is that at some Trump resort, no doubt, isn't it? Is it Doral?
Yeah. I think it might be. Yeah. Brooks Koepka was heartbroken
next week, have we?
Yeah, we're back on the triple header.
You love that, don't you?
Yeah,
what exciting things are happening to you between now and next Tuesday when we reconvene?
I've just got to try and get this throat sorted out. It's covered in poison.
I think you might have to have your tonsils out, mate.
Well, we were discussing this pre-show, weren't we? How old? That's the sort of thing that people have when they're young, don't they? How many people? You can't have your tonsils out at 44, can you? The horse was bolted.
You can put a man on the moon. I'm sure they can take your tonsils out. I mean, it wouldn't be pleasant, I tell thee, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think just a couple of brandies might solve it.
Okay, fair enough. All right then, mate. Lovely stuff. Thank you very much indeed for your input, Steve. Thank you very much to producer Will. Most of all, thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoy the show, we'd love you to hit that thumbs up. And we'd also love you to tell us who you fancy. And if you nail the winner, we'll give you a shout on next week's show. So enjoy the golf, have a lovely week, and we'll see you next Tuesday for another sweet spot. During Safer Gambling Week, the Racing Post wants all our customers to understand that gambling should be regarded only as an enjoyable recreational pastime, not as a means of making money. We believe it's important that you understand the risks associated with gambling, and we take seriously our commitment to encourage you to stay within the limits and to seek help if you feel you're spending too much money or too much time on gambling. While Safer Gambling Week is a great industry initiative that the Racing Post supports, we think that this is a 365-day-a-year commitment. If you ever think that you have an issue with your gambling, please seek help and advice. Plenty of help can be found if you visit www.begambleaware.org.